Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking about biohacking as the new do-yourself science. So without further ado, let's go into my conflict of interest. I'm the founder and the owner of Flawless Canvas Skincare. So what is biohacking? Biohacking is not new, but it's rapidly evolving from this ancient type of wellness practices into what we hope is science-based intervention. This is not for sure. This is what we hope, that science plays a role in biohacking. So biohacking is also referred as do-it-yourself biology. So the main goal of biohacking is to improve or enhance the human body's health, functionality, and performance, so better health and longer life. It's claimed to be deeply rooted in the science of biology, neuroscience, nutrition, genetics, to mention some. We will see if that is true. So there are several ways that we can accomplish biohacking, and one is like modifying our diet, lifestyle, supplementation. This is something that I always say, is my leap of faith, because I take a lot of supplements, but some of them don't have a lot of clinical data. They have preclinical data that is very strong. So I'm taking my leap of faith there to see if they will do something on my body. The use of technologies such as smartwatches or glucometers can help to modify your basically behavior to improve, to keep your body healthier, and also off-label prescription drug, which is, to me, it's the very murky zone that we shouldn't be going there yet, but there are a lot of people that are there. Biohacking can be divided, like I divided for this presentation in three major fields: the anti-aging and anti-inflammation. So the concept of aging backwards, improvement in brain function, and weight loss with increase of lifespan. So let's talk about anti-aging and biohacking. So this is basically a new trend in the beauty industry that claims to be science-based, and the aims are to slow down, reverse, and prevent aging. And ideally, and this has come from a podcast that I watch on biohacking while doing the research for this presentation, we want to target aging before it starts. So from birth, that is what we're trying to do. We will start supplementing kids. No, I think we need to basically be a little bit less culty, and basically figure it out that there is a time where we need to do it, and kids should be out of the question. An example of biohacking and anti-aging is currently happens in front of our eyes, and is the obsessive compulsive behavior to remove senescent cells. But if we learn something from our beautiful and fantastic meeting in Washington, D.C. this year, is like senescent cells, which are not zombie cells, play a role in tissue repair. So they act as sentinels for damage, activate stem cell, and initiate tissue repair. And some paper published in very prestigious journal show that the use of senolytics, which are components that remove senescent cells, delay tissue repair. So we are basically going into therapy before we have all, the information to see if removal of senescent cells is good or bad for you. So let's talk about a couple of components that are linked to anti-aging and biohacking. The first one is rapamycin. Rapamycin prolongs lifespan in yeast, worms, flies, and mice. It's a component isolated from bacteria from the island in Rapa Nui, Chile, my beautiful country. So it has antifungal, immunosuppressive, and anti-cancer property, all of them mediated by the mTOR receptor pathway. Why this is important, and whenever you look for anti-aging pathway, mTOR will be coming over and over again, is because mTOR regulates cellular senescence, immunoresponses, stem cell regulation, autophagy, mitochondrial function, and protein synthesis. So several hallmarks of the aging process. mTOR senses the amount of nutrients that you have outside and basically modify the metabolism of the cells accordingly. mTOR can form two different types of complexes and regulate different functions. So mTOR complex 1 has interaction with this protein, while mTOR complex 2 has interaction with these other proteins, and basically they regulate different type of function in the cells. One of the things that has been shown is rapamycin inhibits mTOR receptor, and the inhibition of mTOR receptor basically trigger an increase in lifespan of 20% in yeast and 60% in mice, and also boost the immune response to vaccines and reverse immunosenescence. So when I was looking for all the clinical studies, someone else did the job for me, which is always fantastic. So this paper that is here on the bottom of the figure, basically the author went and separate all the clinical studies using rapamycin or its derivatives that are here. So these are rapamycin-like ingredients that inhibit mTOR with different affinity and potency. And they separate these in studies that are in healthy individuals or in age-related diseases. And they look at all the improvements, and what they saw is basically that rapamycin and its derivative improve immune, cardiovascular, and skin in healthy and in age-related diseases individual. There was no significant effect on the endocrine, muscular, and neurological system. Rapamycin and its derivative have the effects on respiratory, digestive, renal, and reproductive system were not assessed, which is very important. Just, when I say digestive, think about your liver. You're taking a drug. What is happening with your liver when you are taking this drug from long period of times? There was not a clear relationship between rapamycin or its derivative concentration and the effect of this drug in different systems. So there is something that we are not putting our finger on that we need to figure it out before we start treating massive amount of people with rapamycin to prolong lifespan or to prevent or age backward. There were not effect on learning and memory-induced neuro functionality. And of course, rapamycin, decreases the expression of senescent markers, which is expected. And there were, the effect of systemically administered rapamycin in the skin were not investigated. So I thought, rapamycin could be a good ingredient in skincare. There were not many papers on that. There was only one paper with 36 individuals. 19 of them discontinued the study, which is like, a red flag. And this treatment was done for 6 to 8 months using rapamycin 10 micromolar cream applied to dorsal part of the hand. So one hand has placebo, the other one has rapamycin. And what they observed, surprise, a reduction in the senescent marker in the area treated with the rapamycin cream, and an increase in collagen 4 and 7, which are base membrane collagen. So amazing, but it's 6 to 8 months of treatment. I can do, with antioxidants and retinoids and other components, I can get better results in shorter period of time when it comes to skincare. So one of the things that this author of this paper make a big emphasis, it was like rapamycin cream should not be applied to the entire surface of the skin. So not applied to the body. If you are planning to do largest areas of the skin, use rapamycin systemically better than topically. So there is a concern there that we are not sure what it is, but there is a concern related with the application of topical rapamycin in largest areas of the skin. The other component that we will check is metformin. Metformin is approved for diabetes type 2, has several benefits related with the improvement of glucose metabolism, and as well decreases inflammation, increases autophagy, which is the removal of damaged organelles inside of the cells, and decreases senescent cells. And what you see here is basically, and a plot showing the amount of research that has been done, this exponential amount of research that has been done in metformins. And I know a lot of people that are taking metformins to improve the process of aging and to increase lifespan. As I said before, metformin has several effects on the glucose metabolism, improve the glucose metabolism, and is a very good activator of the production of MMP cyclic inside of the cells, which results in better function of the mitochondria, better production of energy, less production of free radicals, and it's also a regulator of the hepatic glucose and lipid metabolism, and of course, inhibit mTOR. So these are some of the benefits that have been linked to metformin, and we have autophagy, increase in autophagy, decrease in senescent cells, decrease in stem cell exhaustion, improving glucose metabolism, also, decrease in DNA damage, decrease in ROS, and free radical production. Very interesting, slow down the telomere shortening. So that is where the lifespan comes in, and decreases inflammation. But again, most of these studies were done in diabetics individual. We are at a very early stage to figure it out if these questions, if these benefits translate to healthy and young individuals. So one of the things that is very important when it comes to biohacking and aging is that we need to have a standard score for aging. What are we looking for? What is the net benefits? Like when it comes to anti-aging in the liver, anti-aging in the kidney, in the skin, how will, rank these benefits? And that will help us to basically if we don't have a standard system to score the results, we will be in a land of confusion, because what is important to me will not be important to you. So we need to basically organize this before we jump into clinical studies. We need to basically, as I say, verify that all of these changes, because these drugs were developed or were found to fix a unique pathology or defect. We need to basically have the certainty that they will provide the same benefits when it comes to healthy young individuals. And one of the, for example, metformin has two adverse events that are very rare, but it's happening. That is lactic acidosis and deficit in vitamin B12. So what will happen if we have a large population of people taking metformin? Like, maybe these adverse events will be more prevalent. We don't know. So these are the things that we need to consider when it comes to this type of drugs. So very fast, I will go over the nootropics and the effect of intermittent fasting, just to give you an example of the other type of biohacking that can happen. So nootropics are the smart drugs. So are drugs that basically activate or the cognitive functions or the memory, like, especially in situations that these functions were altered. So once again, we're starting for a point of defect of a pathology into, like, extrapolating this data to healthy individuals. They boost basically different type of the brain function. We also, this is all the way that nootropic can basically activate or improve the function of the brain. There are non-prescription nootropics, and these are natural or synthetic supplements that boost mental performance. This is a list of them. You have, like some usual suspects like caffeine, ginkgo biloba, centella asiatica. I really don't like centella asiatica. I don't know why people are so obsessed with that. And we will check some of them. So dianol is a synthetic nootropic that in rats has been shown to improve memory, as well as some, like information in humans. We also have meclofenoxato, which is in rat has shown very significant improvements in lifespan and cognitive capacity. And when it comes to human, we have seen some improvements in the mental function by taking this drug. We also have ginkgo biloba, which is, if anyone has ever smelled the fruit of ginkgo biloba, it's a smell that will go with you for the rest of your life. Outside of my school, the School of Biochem in Chile, we have several ginkgo biloba trees. Oh my God, the smell was terrible, but it's an amazing antioxidant. And also it has antagonist effect for platelet activating, improved vasodilation, reduction in blood viscosity. So there are some link to improvement in the neuro function in rat and mice. And when it comes to humans, there is one study that showed improving working memory and information processing, but there is this review of all the clinical data in humans that show no difference between, like, taking ginkgo biloba or not. This can be linked, of course, to how we standardize the extract of ginkgo biloba, the process of extraction. So there are several factors that can be brought into discussion. I always say when it comes to supplement, not all the supplements are created equal, because it will depend on the process of extraction and preservation for this active. The next one is rhodiola rosea, so also very popular, have been shown, like that has some effect in rats, and some effect on anxiety, stress, anger, confusion, and depression in in humans, but no difference in cognitive performance. One, these are supplements, and you start having, like, do not give this to children, again, not from birth, pregnant or breastfeeding women, like, because they can produce some adverse events. So very fast prescription nootropic, basically these are drugs that are developed for the treatment of the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, narcolepsy, or Alzheimer's disease. These are some of them. What is very intriguing is like almost 29% of the students, of college students, think that this drug will increase their capacity to get better grades, not studying harder. And 26% of the students that are having a prescription from this drug sell or give this medication to other people. So it's something that is brewing in the colleges, beside all the things that is happening right now, that these drugs are basically kind of like an open gate to get much better results. So it's not clear what is going on. There are not a lot of clinical studies, but one of the studies showed that non-medical use of stimulant increased riskier sexual practices and other forms of impulsive behavior. So again, we are giving this drug that were developed for conditions to healthy individuals, and we can exacerbate certain things that are not basically desired. Okay, so let's do biohacking and intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting basically, and calorie restriction, which are the two things that are the most popular one, although they are not equivalent. Intermittent fasting extend lifespan in yeast, worm, and mice. In flies, fasting has no effect, but calorie restriction does. So fasting is basically very dependent on the species. And fasting has been something that has been on the, doctors basically and researchers have been aware that fasting basically produce some beneficial effects because, Hippocrates, Plutarch, and Paracelsus basically have been talking about how when you fast, you basically improve the repair function of your body. Fasting is basically based on the circadian rhythm, so kind of like take advantage of the repair and the highly metabolic area of our day. And so here what I did is I separate the studies based on the time of fasting. So this is a short period of fasting, so 15 days, 20 days, and even 1 day, and you see some decreases in markers for glucose, which is, for short period of time, is a very nice thing. And also, some other lipid metabolism market. But they were not very impactful studies, and these were done in healthy adults. So once again, we are going into the obese versus, healthy adults. These are studies that include longer periods of fasting and sometimes very, very intense period of fasting. And we see, there is several studies and no significant difference, some different, reduction of LDL and triglycerides with a 25% reduction in calories, and, no significant effects. So a lot of, negative impact for intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is amazing to lose weight, but it doesn't mean that has another, we don't know yet if clinically has an effect on prolonging the lifespan or basically improving some of the metabolic market or the function in the brain. So these are basically, very studies that use very dramatic weight of fasting, basically 8 weeks, 1 meal per day. Good luck with that. And you have a decrease in glucose and LDL and increase in the good cholesterol, which is good. There is another study, where they have a prolonged nighttime fasting. It's until noon, and they have an increase in cholesterol in both control and experimental groups. So these are studies done by months, basically, and we see some improvement in cardiovascular markers. So basically the intensity of the fasting and the time that you are exposing to fasting is intrinsically linked to the benefits. So I know that a lot of us, we like the fasting because you can eat whatever you want for 8 hours, and for the rest of the time you kind of don't eat, just drink water. But it's it's not like that. It's like for fasting as well as calorie restriction, you need to suffer. You need to basically deplete the body of the food, so to trigger this response that is desired. So bad news for all of us that we are trying to, the easy way of fasting. So as I say, the long-term benefits of fasting are linked to the severity of the fasting as well as the extension of this, so for how long. Some improvement in blood lipid, glucose metabolism, and inflammatory marker has been reported. All of these are linked to, could be linked to weight loss. So maybe we are improving this because we are losing weight, not because we are changing the metabolism. We don't know yet. And what a surprise, combining intermittent fasting with exercise provide further benefits. So what our doctors have been saying all the time, eat less and exercise is good for you. So this is biohacking. If you have any questions, you can find me. My information is on the link below. And thank you so much. And I hope that you have a wonderful meeting in London.